in case you confused it with Jakarta, Indiana. Good thing this random hostess knows who Dr. Radna is. What would the officers have done if she didn't? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm glad this actor got paid to do some pointing, but that doesn't make the sequence of events any less confusing.
Tadi juga sudah mau selesai.
Just finishing? She still had bread left. You didn't let her eat the bread? You are monsters and nothing can convince me otherwise.
Apakah saya ada berbuat suatu kesalahan? Tidak. Tentu saja tidak.
Then could you at least give her a hint as to why you've abducted her? Okay, I'm guessing the military doesn't want to cause a panic, but this guy seems more interested in creating tension for us than in making sure this poor woman doesn't feel like she's about to be executed for an overdue parking violation. Walking. Excitement? This is a cool visual for the audience, but why is the professor of mycology doing this? Sure, she would be there to review the results, but shouldn't a pathologist or an upholsterer be the one to check the corpse stuffing? Choosing to own a couch of this color.
Polisi datang, perempuan itu mencoba menyerang dan terpaksa harus ditembak.
In the f***ing head? Admittedly, I don't know anything about the Indonesian police force, but I would hope that in almost every situation, a bullet lobotomy is an option number one.
Saya telah menghabiskan waktu hidup saya untuk mempelajari hal ini. Tidak ada obat dan tidak ada vaksin.
Yeah, but until today, you also thought there was no way the cordyceps could live inside a human body. So isn't there at least a chance that this new strain could have some vulnerabilities?
Jadi apa yang harus kami lakukan, Bu? Bom seluruh kota dan seluruh orang yang ada di dalamnya.
Look, I know this is deliberately extreme to put the fear of fungus among us, but who goes from 4 deaths and maybe 14 cases unaccounted for to bombing an entire city? Those 14 missing people may not even be infected. There's playing it safe, and then there's blowing up the planet to make sure it doesn't get hit by an asteroid.
Do I look like I'm infected?
Judging a cordyceps by its cover, it's what's inside that counts, Ellie.
She found me after I was bitten.
And she didn't shoot you.
Clearly not.
Ellie would infect all of us with laughter at TVSins.
I'm here. Tear out a few pages.
Tess is suggesting that this 20-year-old magazine might make for good wiping material, and I would argue that anything from the moss beneath her feet to not wiping at all would be more hygienic.
She made it through the f***ing night.
It doesn't matter.
But I mean, it kind of does, right? Man, Joel's pessimism is really starting to take a toll on Tess. And I really think she was on the fringe of figuring something very important out here.
Is it chicken?
Whatever it is, I have very serious doubts there's a refrigerated section in Ellie's backpack, so it's most likely a future case of food poisoning.
Whatever happened to me is
The key to finding the vaccine. That's what this is. We've heard this a million times.
Okay, Joel, professor of mycology, Texas Miller, but have you ever heard this from someone who is living proof of immunity? Or at the very least, someone who survived after being bitten for longer than you thought possible? Also, why are Joel and Tess so surprised that's what this is? She's a 14-year-old kid who appears to be immune to bites from the infected. How could they not know she was going to be used to help find a cure? I guess the Tess just said her and Joel aren't good people, but they're fairly smart people, right? Also, why the f*** does Joel care anyway? As Tess is about to rightly say, you're not getting the gear you need in exchange for a vaccine. You're getting the gear for delivering Ellie. So what difference does it make if they can turn her into an antifungal cream or not?
This isn't going to end well, Tess.
Tess death shadowing.
Can I have a gun?
Absolutely not.
Okay, Jesus, fine. I'll just throw a f***ing sandwich at them.
And give them food poisoning too? They've already got a fungal infection, Ellie. No reason to make their situation worse.
We should get moving.
Yeah, you can start by running up that road, running up that hill, be running up that building. Apparently the pitch for Last of Us was just like The Walking Dead, but much less of the exciting dead stuff and much more of the walking.
Long way or short way?
I mean, it's the long way or the we're f***ing dead way.
Which makes me wonder why Joel suggested the we're f***ing dead way.
How did you get bit?
You know the old mold in the QZ? Didn't think there was going to be anything in there, and then one just came at me out of nowhere.
I feel like there's a lot more to Ellie's origin story than we're being told, and I hate being teased like this. The main story confidently progresses on, proud of the seed it's planted, while I just feel left behind.
Well, I mean, you got some balls on you, sister.
Using the male reproductive parts as the symbol of courage without considering everything the female reproductive parts have to go through, or have go through them.
Or ones with split open heads that stay in the dark like bats.
Wouldn't this be a great time to explain how that particular fun guy likes to behave at parties? They clearly know it's a thing, and considering it hunts based on sound, waiting until it turns up is a pretty shitty idea if you need to explain that it hunts based on sound. Show teases us with a piano-playing frog, only to never show it again.
This is so gross.
Everyone's respective orifices survive this funky pond water. Part of me loves Ellie's childish playfulness, but another part of me thinks she should be smarter than to make unnecessary noises in a place that she can in no way guarantee doesn't have mushroom monsters present. So, yes, ma'am. Ding, ding, indeed.
Yes, ma'am. Would you like me to check your luggage?
Yes, Ma'am, right away, ma'am.
You're a weird kid.
No, this is exactly how kids work. And Joel, having had one, should really know this. One thing I can tell you for certain, I really hope this is the last of the jump scares, because if it's not, it definitely won't be the last of the jump scare sins. Kicking a person while they're dead.
Come on, it wasn't that bad.
You try climbing 10 floors with our knees. See how you feel.
Then may I be so bold as to suggest using your feet for the next flight.
Maybe I could climb up there, work my way around, and open it from the inside.
Or you could break the doors down. I mean, in video games, wooden doors stop you because beyond them lies the nothingness void of a matrix yet to be programmed. But in the real world, that's almost never the case.
It's a bit of a mess, so I'm gonna need a few minutes.
Feel free to take this time to bond or create further tension between yourself and your co-lead, whatever feels natural.
Where'd you learn to do that?
The circus.
Is the knife flipping really that impressive? Or is Joel just making small talk? Because Joel should be harder to impress and or should hate small talk.
Where are you from?
Texas,
Texas.
What about Tess?
Detroit. It's in
I
Michigan.
go to school. I know where Detroit is.
The depressing fact that making this statement in our version of 2023 doesn't necessarily guarantee knowing things. Good to see that the US school system may have actually improved thanks to the apocalypse.
How long do infected live?
But there's others been walking around about 20 years.
How does Joel know this for certain? In the chaos of the apocalypse, I can't imagine there's been a lot of opportunity to track or carbon date the infected. Or has he seen a few walking around wearing an I went to 2003 and all I got was this lousy fungal infection t-shirt?
What about that guy last night?
Fortunately, Tess arrives just in time to prevent us from learning anything truly meaningful about Joel's character. Now, that might seem harsh, but some insight into whether or not he feels remorse for beating that guard to death would have been pretty powerful. And since a little birdie told me we never come back to the subject, it either feels like a wasted opportunity or one the writers didn't want to flesh out.
What now?
Okay, she didn't say the words, but that expression had "you better come take a look at this" cliche written all over it. I see you, Tess. I see you.
They're connected.
More than you know.
This shot and the following explanation of how the cordyceps work is so f***ing cool. Now quick, accept your sin removal before I change my mind and add a sin for any nightmares this will inspire.
Yeah. Cooked.
Finally, some f***ing luck.
Premature cordyceps liberation.
Maybe he was attacked outside and crawled through the doors.
Or maybe he found a way to travel through time, which involved covering himself in jam, running through a museum, and peeling his own skin. You see, he's not really dead. His consciousness has just returned to 2003 to prevent all of this from happening. Or you could not assume the best and get the f*** out of there, Tess.
Okay, from this point forward, we are silent. Not quiet. Silent.
Wouldn't this have been a good plan A, Joel? Also, is silent even an option? Sound works through vibration, and that's going to be caused by every clunky boot, every squeaky floorboard, and every single breath. If silence is what's required to survive here, then I'd suggest you find another route or Sandra Bullock. Kids. I really feel like this is information that could have been brought to Ellie's attention yesterday.
You alright?
Well, I didn't my pants.
Bella Ramsey, man.
Let's get the f*** out of here.
Why hasn't this already happened? There's no way of knowing if they got them all, so why are they hanging around and talking as if there couldn't be 10 more ready to pop out and deprive us of what little Anatorv we have remaining?
Over there?
Yeah, I know, it looks scary.
That was scary. This is wood.
Being this casual about wood. This wood looks pretty old, which means you could get splinters and then an infection and then, no, I don't know, fall 1,000 feet to your death.
Is it everything you hoped for?
Asking this after only 2 episodes. I'm going to have to at least see some giraffes before I make that kind of judgment. And it's not like episode 3 is going to be one of the greatest episodes of television ever created with some of the most incredibly nuanced performances put to film now, will it?
They went inside.
What is Tess so pissed about? That the truck people went inside, or is it where they parked the truck? It's probably the latter. Tess gets it.
I mean, one of them's got to have a map on them, right?
Even if they do, it doesn't mean it'll be helpful. Unless Tess thinks there'll be a giant red X that marks the spot of where Ellie was supposed to be headed. Have you even ever mapped before, Tess? Because I don't think you have.
She's infected.
I'm sorry, Tess, but dick move. That bite is about as close to the brain as it gets, which means she only has a couple of hours before becoming Servopolis alfungi, so she really should have told Joel and Ellie straight away. Regardless, she definitely should have mentioned it before entering a building that she hoped was filled with fireflies. Also, while killing off Tess sends the message that no character on the series is safe, I'm still pretty pissed off that I only got 2 Anatorv-filled episodes. That's Anna-f***ing-Torv! Throwing hand grenades into the marinade of fuel at the feet of humanity's only hope for survival.
We're not leaving her!
Yes, you are. And you should be. And if you want me to like your character more, Ellie, then stop being such a fucking kid. And of course, the lighter doesn't work. And by that, I mean it won't work for all of the predictable amounts of tension building some time until it suddenly does work. Fungalingus. I'm sure this shot, much like the last shot of the first episode, means something if you played the game, but I haven't played the game, and therefore this is just 30 seconds of unneeded post-apocalyptic building porn, and I hate porn. Wait.
I was made in a mannequin factory in Poughkeepsie. I never shot a wild beast.
Is that chicken?
Silent breed is people!
Ma'am, I'm 8 years old. You think I'd be here alone? I don't think so.
But when we get to 20, tell me. I'm gonna throw up.
That was scary. This is wood.
Jesus Christ.
That's Jason Bourne. Give me some sugar, baby.